Maya arrived at her dream job in simple village clothes, only to be turned away at the door. They said she didn't look like a creative director. But sometimes, the most unconventional arrivals lead to the most extraordinary transformations. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. The morning sun painted the sky orange as Maya stepped off the bus at the edge of the city. She wore a simple cotton kurta and jeans, her long hair tied in a loose braid. A small backpack hung from her shoulders, containing everything she owned that mattered, her degree certificate, a few changes of clothes, and a photograph of her late mother. Maya had traveled overnight from her village in Punjab to reach Lahore. This was her first day at Sterling Communications, one of the most prestigious advertising agencies in Pakistan. After months of interviews and assessments, she had finally landed the job of junior creative director. It was a dream come true, but as she looked up at the tall glass building in front of her, doubt crept into her heart. The security guard at the entrance barely glanced at her when she approached. He was busy scrolling through his phone, a half-eaten paratha sitting on his desk. The lobby floor needed cleaning, and there were old newspapers scattered on the waiting area chairs. Maya noticed these small details, storing them in her memory. "Excuse me," Maya said politely. "I'm here for my first day at Sterling Communications." The guard looked up with an annoyed expression. "Do you have an appointment card?" Maya pulled out the email printout from her bag. It clearly stated her name, position, and start date. The guard barely looked at it before waving her toward the elevator. 15th floor, he mumbled, returning to his phone. As the elevator climbed upward, Maya took deep breaths. She had worked so hard to reach this moment. Growing up in a small village where most girls were married off after high school, Maya had fought for her education. Her mother, a schoolteacher, had supported her dreams despite pressure from relatives. When her mother passed away 2 years ago, Maya had promised at her grave that she would make her proud. The elevator doors opened to reveal a sleek office space with modern furniture and large windows overlooking the city. But Maya's trained eye noticed other things too. The reception desk was unmanned. Coffee cups sat on various desks from what looked like yesterday. The plants in the corner were dying from lack of water. Several employees walked past her without acknowledgement, focused on their phones. Maya stood at the reception area, unsure of where to go. Minutes passed. Finally, a young woman in designer clothes approached her, looking her up and down with barely concealed disapproval. "Can I help you?" the woman asked, her tone suggesting that helping was the last thing she wanted to do. "I'm Maya Khalid. Today is my first day as junior creative director." The woman's eyes widened slightly. "You're the new creative director. But you're so young. And you're not even dressed professionally." Maya felt her cheeks burn but kept her voice steady. "The email said to come at 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. Where should I report?" "Wait here," the woman said dismissively and walked away on her high heels, leaving Maya standing alone. Maya used this time to observe the office more carefully. Through the glass walls of conference rooms, she could see meetings where people seemed more interested in their laptops than in each other. The creative department's wall, which should have displayed exciting campaigns and brainstorming notes, was mostly empty except for a few outdated posters. The energy felt flat, uninspired. 20 minutes passed. Maya remained standing because all the waiting area chairs had files and bags on them. She was beginning to wonder if coming here was a mistake when a tall man in an expensive suit appeared. His name tag read, Amir Khan, Operations Manager. "Miss Khalid?" he asked, looking confused. "We weren't expecting you until next week." Maya pulled out her email again. The letter clearly says October 20th. That's today. Amir frowned as he read the email on his phone. His expression changed from confusion to embarrassment. "There seems to have been a miscommunication. The CEO is out of town, and we haven't prepared your workspace yet. Also, frankly, we were expecting someone more experienced looking." More experienced looking. Maya repeated calmly, though anger was building inside her. What does experience look like? Amir shifted uncomfortably. Well, you know. Someone older, more corporate in appearance. Our previous creative director was a 45-year-old man who had worked in Dubai. You look like you just finished college. I'm 28 years old, Maya said firmly. I have 6 years of freelance experience, a portfolio that your CEO personally praised during my interview, and a master's degree in communications. My appearance doesn't change those facts. Before Amir could respond, another voice cut through the tension. What's going on here? A woman in her 50s approached them. She wore simple, elegant clothes and carried herself with natural authority. Her name tag identified her as Nazreen Ahmed, senior consultant. Amir quickly explained the situation, making it sound like Maya had arrived on the wrong day. Nazreen listened carefully, then asked to see Maya's documents. She read everything thoroughly, unlike everyone else who had barely glanced at them. The letter is clear, Nazreen said finally. Today is the correct start date. Someone in HR made an error in communication. She turned to Maya with kind eyes. I apologize for this confusion, Miss Khalid. Welcome to Sterling Communications. But Nazreen ma'am, Amir protested, we haven't set up her office, and the CEO specifically wanted to introduce her to the team himself. Maybe she should come back next week when we're properly prepared. Maya had heard enough. She had traveled all night. She had left her village, her home, everything familiar. She had overcome poverty, loss, and discrimination to reach this point. She was not going to be sent away because of someone else's mistake. Mr. Amir, Maya said, her voice quiet but strong, I understand there's been miscommunication. But I'm here now, ready to work. Instead of sending me away, why don't we use this as an opportunity? I can meet the team, understand the current projects, and start contributing immediately. Amir looked uncertain, but Nazreen was nodding approvingly. That's a practical solution. Come with me, Maya. Let me show you around properly. As they walked through the office, Nazreen spoke softly. I should explain something about Sterling Communications. This company was once the best in Pakistan. We created campaigns that people remembered for years. But over the past 2 years, things have changed. We lost our creative director to a competitor. Our CEO, Mr. Farouk, had a heart attack and has been partially absent while recovering. The team has lost direction. That explains a lot, Maya said, thinking of all the signs of neglect she had noticed. Mr. Farouk hired you because he believes you can bring fresh energy to this place, Nazreen continued. But I'll be honest, many people here are resistant to change. They've become comfortable with mediocrity. Your age and your background will make some people dismiss you before giving you a chance. That's not new to me, Maya said with a slight smile. I've been underestimated my whole life. Nazreen squeezed her shoulder. Good. Then you know how to prove people wrong. They entered the creative department, where about 15 people were scattered around, some working, some chatting, some just staring at their screens. Nazreen clapped her hands to get their attention. Everyone, this is Maya Khalid, your new junior creative director. Maya comes to us with impressive credentials and fresh ideas. I expect you all to give her your full cooperation. The room fell silent. Maya could feel the judgment in their stares. She saw doubt, skepticism, and in some faces, outright hostility. The woman who had first greeted her at reception whispered something to a colleague, and they both laughed. Maya stepped forward. She could play it safe, try to fit in, apologize for the confusion. Or she could be herself, the girl from a village who had learned that respect comes from courage and competence, not from seeking approval. Thank you, Nazreen ma'am, Maya said, then addressed the room. I know my arrival wasn't planned for today, and I know I'm not what some of you expected. That's okay. I didn't expect to be standing here either, considering I was almost sent home this morning for not looking experienced enough. A few people shifted uncomfortably. Others looked interested now. But I'm here because I love creativity, Maya continued. I'm here because I believe advertising can tell stories that matter. I'm here because Mr. Farouk saw something in my work that convinced him to hire me. I don't expect you to trust me immediately. Trust is earned. So let me earn it. She walked to the whiteboard and picked up a marker. I spent 20 minutes in your waiting area this morning. In that time, I noticed at least 10 things about this office that told me stories. Small details that most people miss. Good advertising is about noticing these details. Maya began writing, unmanned reception. Old coffee cups. Dying plants. Employees avoiding eye contact. Empty creative walls. These details tell me that this office has lost its energy, she said. A place that creates campaigns for others has forgotten to care about its own story. That change is starting today. The room was completely silent now. Everyone was paying attention. I have a challenge for all of you, Maya said. Over the next week, each of you will create a campaign, not for a client, but for Sterling Communications itself. Show me what this company could be. Show me why you chose advertising. Show me the creativity that made you want this career. A young man raised his hand tentatively. But we have client deadlines. Client work continues as normal, Maya assured him. This is extra. This is for yourselves. And whoever creates the best campaign gets their idea displayed in our lobby for everyone to see. She could see the shift in the room. Some people still looked skeptical, but others were intrigued. Seeds of interest had been planted. Amir appeared at the door, looking stressed. Miss Khalid, I've spoken with Mr. Farouk on the phone. He's very upset about the communication error. He wants to video call with you immediately. Maya's heart jumped, but she kept her expression calm. Of course. Where can I take the call? Nazreen led her to a small conference room. Before leaving, she whispered, be yourself. That's why he hired you. The video call connected, and Mr. Farouk's face appeared on the screen. He was in his 60s, with gray hair and sharp eyes that looked tired but alert. Miss Khalid, he said, I owe you an apology. My team failed to communicate properly about your arrival date. I should have been there to welcome you personally. Thank you, sir, but honestly, this morning was educational, Maya said. I learned a lot about Sterling Communications just by observing how things work when no one is watching. Mr. Farouk raised an eyebrow. Oh. What did you learn? Maya took a breath. She could give a polite, safe answer. Or she could be honest. She chose honesty. I learned that this company has structural problems that go beyond creative output. Your security guard doesn't take his job seriously. Your reception is often unmanned. Your office shows signs of neglect. Your employees seem disconnected from each other and from the company's mission. These aren't small things, sir. They're symptoms of a larger culture problem. She expected him to be angry. Instead, Mr. Farouk leaned back in his chair and smiled. That's exactly what I hoped you would say. Everyone else just tells me what they think I want to hear. But you see the truth and you're brave enough to speak it. That's why I hired you, Maya. Not just because of your creative skills, but because of your perspective. Sir, if I may ask, why did you choose someone like me? Someone young, from a village, with no corporate experience. Because Sterling Communications doesn't need another corporate person, Mr. Farouk said. We've had plenty of those, and they all maintained the status quo. We need someone who sees things differently. Someone who understands struggle, creativity born from limitation, and authenticity. Your background isn't a weakness, Maya. It's your greatest strength. After the call ended, Maya sat alone in the conference room for a moment. Mr. Farouk's words had touched something deep inside her. All her life, people had seen her village background as something to overcome. But he saw it as an asset. Over the following weeks, Maya threw herself into understanding Sterling Communications from the inside. She arrived early and stayed late. She observed how teams worked, where communication broke down, and what made people excited or frustrated. She ate lunch in the cafeteria with junior staff, asking about their experiences and ideas. She learned names, remembered details about people's lives, and showed genuine interest in everyone she met. The creative challenge she had announced on her first day generated more interest than expected. People who hadn't created anything original in months were suddenly staying after work to develop their campaigns. The energy in the creative department began to shift. But not everyone was happy with the changes. Amir, the operations manager, seemed particularly resistant. He had been with the company for 10 years and was used to doing things his way. Maya's questions and suggestions felt like criticism to him. One afternoon, Maya proposed reorganizing the workflow to improve collaboration between the creative and accounts teams. Amir shut down the idea immediately. "That's not how we do things here," he said dismissively in a meeting. "We have systems that work. Just because you're new doesn't mean you need to change everything." "But do the systems actually work?" Maya asked calmly. Last month, 3 campaigns missed their deadlines. Client satisfaction scores are down. Employee turnover is high. These numbers suggest the systems aren't working. Amir's face reddened. "Those problems have nothing to do with workflow. You've been here less than a month. You don't understand our clients, our culture, or our challenges." The meeting room was tense. Everyone waited to see how Maya would respond. She could back down, smooth things over. Or she could stand her ground. "You're right that I'm new," Maya said. "But fresh eyes sometimes see things that familiar eyes miss. I'm not trying to criticize what you've built here, Amir. I'm trying to help make it better. Isn't that what we all want?" Before Amir could respond, Nazreen spoke up. "Maya has a point. Maybe it's time we examine our processes honestly. Being defensive doesn't help the company grow." The meeting ended awkwardly, but Maya had made her position clear. She wasn't going to stay quiet just to keep peace. Real improvement required honest conversations, even uncomfortable ones. The resistance continued in small ways. Her emails sometimes went unanswered. Her meeting invitations were declined without explanation. Some senior team members made jokes about village thinking when she proposed unconventional ideas. But Maya also found allies. Nazreen became a mentor and supporter. Several junior staff members appreciated her approachable style and started bringing ideas to her. Slowly, pockets of enthusiasm began emerging in different departments. The turning point came 6 weeks after Maya's arrival. Sterling Communications was competing for a major account, a national bank launching a new service for rural customers. The pitch was crucial. Landing this client could revitalize the company's reputation and finances. The creative team had worked for weeks on a presentation. They developed a sophisticated campaign targeting urban millennials with digital marketing and influencer partnerships. The day before the pitch, they gathered to review the final proposal. Maya sat through the presentation, her concern growing with each slide. Finally, she raised her hand. "Can I ask a question? Who is the target customer for this bank service?" "Rural customers," said Hamza, the senior creative who had led the project. "People in small towns and villages. And our campaign is focused entirely on urban millennials and digital platforms?" "Yes, because that's modern advertising. That's what wins awards." Maya stood and walked to the presentation board. "The problem is, this campaign won't reach the people the bank wants to serve. Most rural customers don't follow Instagram influencers. Many don't have smartphones. They make financial decisions based on trust, community reputation, and word of mouth." Hamza crossed his arms defensively. So what do you suggest? We've spent weeks on this. I suggest we start over, Maya said. I suggest we create a campaign that actually speaks to rural Pakistan, because I know rural Pakistan. I lived it. The room erupted in argument. Starting over with one day until the pitch seemed impossible. Some team members thought Maya was overstepping. Others worried about throwing away weeks of work. Amir stormed into the room, having heard the commotion. What's going on here? Maya wants to scrap our entire campaign the day before the pitch, Hamza said angrily. Amir turned to Maya with barely controlled fury. This is exactly the problem with hiring someone inexperienced. You don't understand deadlines, client relations, or professional standards. We're going with the existing campaign. Maya felt every eye on her. This was her moment of truth. She could back down, let it go, prove she was a team player. Or she could fight for what she knew was right. If we go with this campaign, we'll lose the account, Maya said clearly. It's beautiful work, but it's the wrong work. The bank will see immediately that we don't understand their customers. They'll go with an agency that does. You can't possibly know that, Amir shot back. Yes, I can. Because I am their customer. I grew up in a village where the nearest bank was 20 kilometers away. Where people kept their savings in their homes because they didn't trust banks. Where financial decisions were discussed with the entire family, not made by individuals online. This campaign ignores all of that. Nazreen, who had been silent until now, spoke up. What would you propose instead? Maya walked to the whiteboard and began drawing quickly. We focus on trust and community. We show respected local figures, teachers, shopkeepers, religious leaders, using the service. We use local language, not English phrases. We advertise in places people actually gather, markets, bus stops, community centers. We create simple printed materials that families can read together. And yes, we have digital components, but they're supplementary, not primary. She turned to face the team. Give me tonight. Let me in whoever wants to help create an alternative pitch. Tomorrow morning, we present both options to Mr. Farouk. He decides which one we take to the client. If he chooses the original campaign, I'll support it fully. But at least give him the choice. The room was silent. Amir looked like he wanted to refuse, but Nazreen was nodding. That's fair. Anyone who wants to work with Maya tonight can stay. Everyone else, go home and rest. Amir stormed out. About half the team left with him. But 7 people stayed, 3 junior designers, 2 copywriters, 1 photographer, and Nazreen. They worked through the night, fueled by chai and determination. Maya drew from every memory of her village life. She thought about her mother explaining why she saved money in a tin box instead of a bank. She remembered her uncle's skepticism when someone from the city came selling financial products. She channeled every conversation she'd overheard in village shops, every concern she'd heard about trusting institutions. The team created mock-ups showing real village scenes, not romanticized versions, but authentic depictions. Their slogans were in simple Urdu and Punjabi, not corporate jargon. They designed a campaign that felt like a conversation between neighbors, not a sales pitch from strangers. By dawn, they had a complete alternative presentation. Maya's hands shook from exhaustion as she printed the final pages. The team gathered around, looking at what they'd created. Despite their tiredness, there was pride in their eyes. At 8 in the morning, both teams assembled in the main conference room. Mr. Farouk had returned early from his trip specifically for this meeting. Amir and his team presented first. Their campaign was polished, professional, and impressive. When they finished, Mr. Farouk applauded. Then Maya's team presented. As they went through each element, explaining the reasoning behind their choices, the room's energy changed. Even people who had doubted Maya were leaning forward, engaged. When they finished, Mr. Farouk was quiet for a long moment. Amir's team created a campaign that would win advertising awards, he said finally. Maya's team created a campaign that would actually work for this client. We're going with Maya's version. The pitch to the bank executives happened that afternoon. Maya presented, her voice steady despite her nerves. She spoke about understanding customers, about trust, about meeting people where they were instead of where advertisers wanted them to be. When she finished, the bank's CEO stood up. In 15 years of business, this is the first time an advertising agency has truly understood our customers. You have the account. Back at the office, the mood was electric. Sterling Communications had won the biggest account in years. But more than that, something fundamental had shifted. The team had seen that different approaches could succeed, that fresh perspectives had value, that taking risks could pay off. Amir approached Maya as she was packing up for the night. She braced herself for another confrontation, but his expression was different now, thoughtful rather than angry. I owe you an apology, he said. I've been resistant to your ideas because I felt threatened. You're young, you're different, and you were changing things I'd built. But today, you proved something important. You proved that caring about the work matters more than protecting your ego. Maya was surprised by his honesty. Thank you for saying that. And I should apologize too. Sometimes I push too hard. I'm still learning how to balance confidence with collaboration. Keep pushing, Amir said with a slight smile. This company needs it. Over the following months, Sterling Communications transformed. Maya's unconventional arrival had set the tone for unconventional success. She implemented the workflow changes she had proposed, improving communication and efficiency. She started a mentorship program connecting senior and junior staff. She insisted that the office environment reflect the creative energy they were supposed to project to clients. The dying plants were replaced with thriving ones. The empty creative walls filled with inspiring work. The unmanned reception got a friendly, efficient receptionist. Small changes accumulated into a major shift in culture. Maya also began a series of workshops where team members shared their backgrounds and stories. She discovered that the designer who had laughed at her on the first day had grown up in poverty herself and had adopted a corporate persona to fit in. The copywriter who had been most resistant to change had been repeatedly overlooked for promotion and had stopped trying. Everyone had stories, struggles, dreams. By creating space for authenticity, Maya helped people bring their full selves to work. The office became less formal but more productive, less rigid but more professional. People started actually talking to each other instead of just sending emails. Collaboration increased. So did laughter. Sterling Communications landed 3 more major accounts over the next 6 months. Their reputation in the industry improved dramatically. Other agencies started asking what had changed. Articles were written about their transformation. Maya was invited to speak at a marketing conference about inclusive leadership and authentic advertising. But the moment that mattered most to Maya came on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. She was working in her office, a real office now, with her name on the door, when there was a knock. A young woman entered nervously. "Ma'am, my name is Aisha. I just joined as a junior copywriter. I'm from a small town in Sindh. When I walked into reception today, I felt out of place. Everyone seemed so sophisticated and confident, and I felt like I didn't belong. Then someone told me about you, about how you arrived in simple clothes, how you were almost turned away, how you changed this entire company. I just wanted to meet you and say thank you for making it possible for people like us to believe we can succeed here." Maya's eyes filled with tears. This was why it had all been worth it, the doubts, the resistance, the late nights, the moments of feeling alone. She stood and hugged Aisha. "You do belong here," Maya said firmly. "Never let anyone make you feel otherwise. Your background isn't something to hide or overcome. It's a source of strength and perspective. Use it." 1 year after her unconventional arrival, Mr. Farouk called Maya to his office. She wondered if there was a problem, but he was smiling. "I'm promoting you to Senior Creative Director," he announced. "You've earned it through your work, your leadership, and your impact on this company's culture." "Thank you, sir," Maya said, overwhelmed. "When I arrived that first morning and was almost sent away, I never imagined." "That's exactly why I hired you," Mr. Farouk interrupted. "Because you never imagined it. Because you came from somewhere where this kind of success seemed impossible. Because you had to fight for every opportunity. That hunger, that perspective, that authenticity, those are the things that make great leaders." He handed her a framed photograph. It showed the security guard's booth from her first day, cluttered, careless, neglected. "I had this taken from our security footage. I want you to keep it as a reminder. Your unconventional arrival revealed truths about this company that everyone else was too comfortable to see. You didn't just succeed despite not fitting in. You succeeded because you didn't fit in." Maya placed the photograph on her desk, where it would remind her daily of where she came from and what she'd proven. The girl from a Punjab village who had arrived in simple clothes and been judged as inadequate was now leading one of Pakistan's top creative teams. But more importantly, she had helped create a workplace where the next Aisha, the next person who didn't fit the expected mold, would have an easier path. She had proven that unconventional arrivals could lead to exceptional destinations. That evening, Maya called her village on video chat. Her younger sister answered, surrounded by their relatives. They had heard about her promotion and wanted to celebrate. "Baji," her sister said excitedly, "everyone in the village is talking about you. You've made us all so proud. But tell me honestly, was it very difficult? Did people treat you badly because of where we're from?" Maya thought about her first day, about being dismissed and doubted, about the months of proving herself. But she also thought about the allies she'd found, the culture she'd helped create, the young people she was now mentoring. "It was difficult," Maya admitted. "But difficulty doesn't mean defeat. Yes, people judged me. Yes, I had to work twice as hard to earn half the respect. But I learned something important: the things that make you different are often the things that make you valuable. Our village, our background, our struggles, they taught me to see what others miss. They made me who I am." She looked around her office, at the creative walls filled with campaigns that told authentic stories, at the team that now valued diversity of thought and experience, at the photograph reminding her of how far she'd come. "And remember this," Maya continued. "Success isn't about becoming like everyone else. It's about being excellently yourself. My unconventional arrival was actually my greatest advantage. It forced me to lead differently, to think differently, to create differently. The things that seem like weaknesses can become your superpowers." Her sister was crying now, inspired and emotional. "I want to be like you, Baji." "No," Maya said gently. "Be like yourself. That's the lesson. I succeeded not by trying to fit someone else's idea of what a creative director should be, but by being authentically Maya. You do the same. Be authentically you, and you'll find your own path to success." After the call ended, Maya stood at her office window, looking out at Lahore's lights. Somewhere in this city and in cities across Pakistan, there were other young people from villages and small towns, carrying dreams that others found improbable. They were riding buses overnight, clutching degrees and photographs, hoping for chances to prove themselves. Maya's story would reach some of them. It would tell them that unconventional arrivals were not obstacles but opportunities. That being underestimated was not a limitation but motivation. That the journey from a village to a corner office was possible, one brave step at a time. The morning sun had painted the sky orange when she arrived. Now, evening painted it purple and gold. Maya had come so far from that uncertain girl at the bus stop. But in the ways that mattered most, she was still the same person, determined, authentic, unafraid to be herself. Her unconventional arrival had changed Sterling Communications. But more importantly, it had proven something essential: that success doesn't require fitting in. Sometimes, the greatest achievements come from standing out, speaking up, and staying true to who you are, no matter how unconventional that might be.